And we are live! Welcome to Open Doors at Onlea HQ. My name is Andrea Hazenbank. I'm a learning design strategist here at Onlea, and I am delighted to be your host this afternoon. We are coming at you today from Onlea Studios in downtown Edmonton. Onlea HQ is located in Amaskwaci, Waskaganigan, and on Treaty 6 territory. This land is the home and traditional meeting place of many Indigenous peoples, including Cree, Plains Cree, Métis, Papas-Chase, and Tsuut'ina nations. As a learning organization made up of settlers across Canada, we acknowledge our responsibility to help implement the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action whenever possible. This July, Onlea is marking its 10th anniversary in the learning space. From our beginnings at the University of Alberta to our emergence as a full-throttle e-learning production agency, to our energizing new direction and offerings in full end-to-end support for advocacy and professional development programs, we are so proud of every project and every connection we've made along the way. We wanted to celebrate with the people who made this possible, you. We're happy to welcome clients, friends, family, and of course, many of our fantastic team members to this live event. For the next hour, we are inviting you to see a different side of Onlea. You might know us mostly as small boxes on your monitor, but today we are excited to take you behind the screens. I will be joined by some of Onlea's leaders here and through the magic of Zoom to reflect on a decade of learning. We're going to share some stories about successes and challenges, and we're going to get real about the growing pains that have come with expanding what we do to keep up with all of you. We also want to hear from you. You may have noticed that the live chat happening alongside this feed. We'd love to keep the conversation going there, and we'll be happy to take a few audience questions a little bit later. We have the great fortune of doing work that matters because of the clients who trust us with their problems and who are willing to include us as partners in creating new and engaging ways to connect with all kinds of learners. Let's start by hearing from the pair who started it all. Jonathan Schaefer and Jennifer Griffin Schaefer founded Onlea more than 10 years ago, and they continue to uplift the company as Chief Science Officer and Board Chair today. We caught up with them in the studio to capture the story of Onlea's origins.
In 2011, some friends of mine at Stanford University created a MOOC. Massive open online course. And to me, that was an epiphany. Like many people of the time, I had a negative view of education when it was presented online. Quite frankly, the majority of them were, how shall I be charitable, they were acceptable. That kind of mediocrity is not something that I'm interested in doing, nor Jennifer.
Did everyone buy the idea of learning is for everyone? No. In 2013-14, when we started Onlea, the type of online learning that existed was stratified into kind of a bucket of, this is for all those people who aren't cool enough, rich enough, whatever, to go to universities and take the esteemed programs. And so we're not even going to bother making it a real experience. Then there was also this whole world of folks who were just coming onto the internet for the first time in 2013-14. And so to me, what really mattered was, how do we make a product just because it's free that is not just a showbiz kind of thing, or, you know, just sit back and have your coffee and watch something like you would for a documentary, which are often very beautiful, but rather it gets you engaged, gets your hands on the keyboard, gets your mind active, and makes you feel, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what socioeconomic background you're in, you can take part in high quality learning presented by some of the best experts in the world. So that was the impetus and the joy and the challenge around creating Onlea in 2013-14.
What was the first course that Onlea made?
Well, the first course that we built was Dino 101.
We didn't have experience, but we had a vision, and we wanted to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the world. You know, obviously Onlea has learned a lot, we learned a lot, and economies of scale have taken over, so it doesn't cost that much.
Picking up from that, when you think of the fact that it's 2024 and Dino 101 is still a live and active course on the Coursera platform, and how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, have taken the course already, and how easy it is for off of the material that was created in 2013-14 to be augmented with new material in paleontology discoveries that happen about every 3 weeks. It's incredible, right? That is such a good business model if you want to get very businessy about it. And I was explaining that as a businesswoman to folks. They couldn't see that because it didn't exist yet. They could hear me and they say, well, I want to believe you, but I'm cautious because you're just telling me this, but I haven't seen the proof in the pudding. Now that we're in 2024, I told you so can kind of work, right? But also I think a lot of the magic in that particular course that we hit running digital strategy largely, like online marketing, understanding the attention deficit of folks because they had been online and working in online mediums for, at that point, about a decade, understanding gamification and what we should do there. And when we were able to actually bring all of that together in a package, but then hit on kind of a Batman and Robin model of the person that's learning with you in more of a peer-to-peer way is so much more engaging, and our data proves it in retention rates and engagement data, versus a sage that is so up there that you think, well, I can't get that knowledge because they're just so far ahead of me. So that was one of the things that really worked and was super exciting about the 2013-14, as we were going into it with a hypothesis, and we proved it in the market.
Onlea launched with a key mission statement: learning is for everyone. We have held on to that idea through the last 10 years, working with all of you to meet your learners where they are and invite them into beautiful, one-of-a-kind learning experiences. Over the past year, we have also seen our horizons expanding. I'm joined now by our CEO, Adriana Lopez Ferrero, and one of our experienced learning designers, Jennifer Delisle, to tell us a little bit more about that process of transformation. Adriana, where did this need for expansion come from? How did you even begin the process of thinking through the kind of change that had to happen from the inside out?
Thank you, Andrea. I love that question because it talks about change, and change is who we are. From the beginning, you heard from Jonathan and Jennifer. We are a learning company. We are a company that needs to adapt to how we are learning as humans, how we are learning and changing. So as a learning organization, each pivot along the way has been a pivot towards how is education becoming a better space for all as people. Now, a year ago, we started a new pivot. And this pivot, this change was special because it came from listening to our clients. It came through listening to what we all were going through. Over the past years, we have been in times of change. We have been in times of uncertainty. We have been in times where we need to talk about resilience. We need to talk about hope. And that's what we are hearing from our clients. We are hearing the need for sustainability. We are hearing the need to reach with impact, for messages to be broadcasted, and for messages of hope and of learning to be part of our daily lives. So with that in mind, we have started a change that took us upon a journey from branding to communications to service delivery to customer service and how we can help you succeed. So this change is all about making sure we are there for our clients and we are there for their success.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much about the relationships that we've built and that way that we can put that learning lens on everything that we do. So Jennifer, from your role, how do you see the impact of what we're able to do in the bigger picture of how we support our clients and partners?
At Onlea, designing learning experiences has always started with some investigation of the learner, thinking about their needs and their goals. So thinking about learning experience in a broader organizational context is nothing new for us. But the earlier we can start working with a client on an initiative or a strategic goal, the better we can make sure that learning is really integrated with that experience and that we're building the right thing for the need. So for example, we recently worked with a client, a nonprofit offering professional development training to a pretty vast audience. And they suspected that they wanted to move into some asynchronous online learning, but they wanted to validate that assumption. They wanted to modernize their offerings, make sure that they were offering the best type of learning for their audience. So we worked with them to do some focus groups with their audience. We did lots of workshops. We did a market scan, like a competitor analysis. We did a scan of their existing content. And what we found through all that research is that actually traditional online long-form learning, e-learning, wasn't even really the priority that we were recommending for them. So instead, what we recommended is that they leverage the existing content that they have with some micro-learning and like an online resource hub. So now we're in a good position to help them with piloting those initiatives with some content strategy and some UX design and some technical development. And they know that their initiatives are validated with some evidence. And then going forward, we can continue to do some more research and make sure that we're meeting those needs. And that's really where that other end of end-to-end support really comes in. We don't want to ever just deliver a solution to a client and then walk away. It's really important to continue to evaluate the solution, to identify any additional learning gaps that we can help to fill. And we can also help to scale. So we have lots of clients that want to expand their offerings. They might want to offer a program in new languages, offer a different audience, or expand their learning platform. And we've even offered some train the trainer kind of solutions so that we can help clients develop their own capacity to develop their own learning.
Yeah, and really so much of what we want to be able to do is empower not only our learners, but the partners that we work with to do this and carry it on long into the future. And definitely we are used to doing that with external partners, but this has been an interesting process turning it back on ourselves. So to both of you, what has this process been like within Onlea at the team level?
Oh, it's a unique process because sometimes there is a romanticized notion of learning, that learning is easy and that learning is this process where everything is going to be easy to go through. But learning is transformation. And there is a great quote from our creative director, Jeff. And learning is change. There is no learning without change, and there is no change without learning. So that process was no dissimilar for us. We went through change. We went through moments of, how do we do this better? Is this the right change? Is this the right direction? And I think what I admire profoundly about our team is that ability to be thoughtful through the process, to be in constant learning, and to say, okay, this feels right, this we need to change, and to keep moving through and building a better future.
Yeah, like Adriana said, it was really an iterative process. We were going through the process the same way that we facilitate it for our clients, really. And what I really appreciated is that it never felt like it was top down. All of us were bringing our own experience and expertise, which is quite diverse, to the process and really learning from each other.
Yeah, and from that learning we've been able to do with each other and for each other, what are you excited to take back to our clients?
Oh, and I love how we approach each question with thoughtfulness and with diverse points of view. There is no creative endeavor. There is no key message that doesn't happen without input from different points of view, without input from different professions, input from different backgrounds. And that's what we went through. We needed multimedia design, we needed project management, learning design, strategic thinking, all of these areas coming together to make something new, something exciting. So I'm using the word exciting one more time. I'm looking forward to continuing to work from diverse points of view, all in the service of creating amazing programs for you.
We work so closely with our clients, and we develop some really great relationships with them. Sometimes we're working very intensely together over a period of a few months. And over the years, we've had some opportunities with repeat clients to really develop those relationships long term. And I'm really excited about the prospect of having opportunities to continue those relationships in other ways and really support our clients long term.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we are 10 years in this business, and we are really looking forward to the next 10 with each of you. Thanks very much to both of you. All right, so for our next segment, we are going cross-country as I'm joined by our Client Development Manager, Beau Desaulniers from Kimberley, BC, and our Project Manager, Abisoya Akinola from St. John, New Brunswick. So, to both of you, we've got many other team members from all over Canada joining us in the chat, so feel free to say hello, check in, or ask questions while we all hang out today. But Beau and Abisoya, showtime. Let's talk strategy. You are both on the front line with our clients, guiding them in the earliest stages of a project, and often you are the point people if things get sticky along the way. So Abisoya, what was it like to turn that strategic eye back on ourselves? What were you seeing in the market, and what were you hearing in your conversations with organizations that really made you realize there was a need for more wraparound services and supports for learning?
Thank you very much, Andrea. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. That's a very great question, Andrea, because our transformation process stemmed from a place from very strategic foresight, deep listening to our clients, and a strong focus on innovation. And so turning those lens back at ourselves just made us really ask ourselves really hard questions. We realized over time that while our cost creation services were very helpful, we're seeing in the market the demand for a more holistic approach, starting from research, strategy, design, and implementation. People were asking for more. And so, just sitting down with the clients and asking these questions as per the challenges that we're going through at the moment helped us arrive at some of the services. That's one angle. The second thing that we also did, like Joanna and Jennifer mentioned earlier, was actually doing this workshops and for ourselves. We engage in a lot of strategic visioning sessions with ourselves and our team, and we're asking ourselves the question, if we're not creating courses right now in the next 5 to 10 years, how would we be serving our clients right now? How would we remain partners with our clients based on their expanding and evolving needs around advocacy, education, or even their program offerings? To testify to the kind of group that we are, we're very passionate and we have diverse skills. These sessions were not, just a group of people in a different room. It was everyone together. We had our multimedia designers, we had our LDs in there, we had our project managers, and even our bosses in there. And we sat down and we started thinking about these things. That also led us to some of the services that we now offer based on the skill set that we have in-house. Thirdly, a lot of people online right now are called our friendlies. That's the term that we used to call them. So hi, friendlies. Our friendlies are our past clients. They're our biggest advocates. And just listening to them and wanting to work with them is very important. As the project manager, at the end of my project, I'm usually in conversations with the client. And one question that we started to ask them over time is, what is the biggest challenge that your team is going through right now? And that also helped us to really be able to want to help and be there and become impact partners with our friendlies. And so finally, I would say, so I can give you both some time to talk about this also. Finally, we started to pilot some of these services. Just like Jennifer mentioned the other time, it is, our friendlies give us the opportunity to pilot some of the services with them. And just the success that we've had so far, Andrea, has just given us the confidence for us to go in this direction. And we're excited about, going in this direction because we've seen that they're working. We're working with our clients and being partners with them, and we're excited. So that is what it felt like turning the strategic lens back at us is, all of the steps that I've mentioned, but excited about the fact that we've piloted some of the services and we know that it's going to work. We're very confident. So that's what I have to share.
Yeah, we had to really all get in there together to think it through. And definitely any change is a big risk, and it's hard to know what will make an impact for the people that we work with. So Bo, how do you know when we found a successful approach?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andrea. But with my role, I get to deal with our clients' challenges every day. And before I talk about how we measure success, I should first explain how we understand what those challenges are. And when we first meet with a client, we always begin with a discovery session where we can truly understand our clients' challenges and start building trust in that relationship. Many of the people I talk to, they're tasked with something new to them. So they have a lot of questions to ask us. And this allows us to assure them that they're in good hands, that we've encountered and solved similar challenges, and we're going to help them overcome theirs. And what I really hear from our clients today is that they're looking for sustainability, impactful change, and added value for their members and their audience. And our goal is to help them achieve this and ensure it lasts. So how do we measure the success? Well, it's a mix of qualitative and quantitative metrics. First and foremost, we focus on client satisfaction. We're in constant communication through our process, and we incorporate feedback sessions throughout. And not only do we want to ensure our clients are satisfied, but we also need to make sure that their audience is satisfied, because at the end of the day, we're building it for them. And this can be done through post-launch surveys or prototyping before launch to have a small subset of the audience test it out. What we find, it's a big investment for our clients, so we really need to ensure that we're hitting the marks as we work through our process. And we continuously refine our strategies based on the insights we gather through these communications. And our ultimate aim is to foster strong long-term relationships with our clients and deliver exceptional learning experiences for their members, and always continue to be a strategic partner ready to help when needed.
Yeah, I liked what you were saying, Bo, about how we're not only trying to reach and support our clients, but we're really trying to go through them to their learners. And so much of our work is about building and maintaining those relationships. So how do we hear back from our clients after a project has ended?
Yeah, that's another great question. We know we've succeeded when we start seeing our clients use our language in their communications. It shows us they've become more confident and educated in program development. We also measure success by clients continuing to work with us on future projects and also referring us to others. There's nothing I love more than having a communication where it says, so-and-so said nothing but good things about you. Let's work together. And additionally, their willingness to provide testimonials about their experience with Onlea and the engagement of their learners indicates the positive impact we've made. And these metrics ensure we're helping our clients achieve their goals of sustainability, impactful change, and added value for their members.
Yeah, definitely. And we really appreciate those testimonials, and we really appreciate hearing back. I mean, I'm always scouring the comments and the stars in different courses and reviews. So Abisoya, how will we know if we get it right? From your side of things, what kind of responses will you be looking for as a part of Onlea's rebrand?
I really like that because those are kind of the questions that we've asked ourselves is how would we know that this is working and all of this change that we're doing is actually working. Like Bo mentioned, client satisfaction is very key to us at Onlea. It is something that we totally enjoy hearing back from our clients and just knowing. So just knowing that we're satisfying the needs of their audiences and helping them project their impact is one of the ways that we would know. A second way also for us would be be the kind of projects that they're bringing for us. Remember that this is a rebrand of Onlea. Even ourselves stumbled a lot with calling ourselves cost production, a cost production house. And so when our clients start to ask us the kind of projects that we're hoping to serve them with, then we know that we're succeeding with our rebrand. When our clients start to see us as partners, when we can tell that, you know, we are partners with them and we're going all the way from the idea all the way to the implementation and the end of it, and even up onto measurement and return on investment, that tells us that our rebrand is working. And I don't think that our rebrand is going to be static. It's going to be pretty agile and it's growing. We will keep evolving as the market evolves, and also evolving with our clients to help them achieve the aim around education, advocacy, and their program offering. Their success becomes our success, and the impact and the size of their impact also becomes the way for us to know that we're also helping them. So that's how we would know that our rebrand is working.
Yeah, we're never going to rest. We're not going to be satisfied with just someone saying something's good. We're going to be looking to see that replicating in our partners. Thank you both so very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Indira. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so as you've heard from Bo and Abasoya, communication is at the heart of everything that we do. And so much about learning is about meeting the learner where they are and finding ways to bring them along, sometimes in ways they don't even know are happening. So I'm joined now by two of the people deeply involved in reshaping how Onlea communicates about itself to the world. I've got on one hand Nikolina Milosnic, who is one of our lead designers, and I've got Mel Giel, who is one of our lead writers. Hello, welcome both.
Hello. Hello, thank you.
So Nikolina, when you were looking at the graphic design and all of the parts that go with it, what really opened the door for you on the design process?
That's a great question, Andrea. So when this whole process started about a year ago, and I know that sounds like a long time, but it's really not for such a big undertaking as a rebrand. And also keep in mind that we're always prioritizing our client projects, of course, and so we're weaving in and out of those while working on this as well. So when we started on this process, the first meeting, myself and one of our other wonderful multimedia designers, Tia, we were pulled into a meeting and we didn't know what it was about initially. And we soon found out that we were going to be part of a team for the rebrand. And that was really exciting for everyone because that means that we get to set a new stage for the next 10 years of Onlea. And we get to change the colors, we get to change the illustration style or the graphic styles, the photography. All these doors are open to us. And so there's a lot of decisions and discussions that have to be made around that. And also wording can change and all these kinds of things. And so we knew from that first meeting initially that all of those things are true, that there's a lot of things we can change in the brand, but we still want to make sure that we're communicating to our past clients and that we're welcoming new clients as well. And so we definitely wanted what we create to be really understandable and welcoming. And we want to, show that we're still the friendly and great people we were before, the great Onlea company that we were before, but that we also are opening so many new horizons for ourselves and welcoming new experiences and new projects in as well. And so that was so many of these things we were brainstorming. And what no one asked for actually was a new logo. But I felt a really strong pull to create one, or at least to try to see what would happen if I created one and how people would react to it. And so we all went off into our own corners and started brainstorming and creating. And when we came back and had a new meeting and I presented the logo idea it was actually met with so much positivity. And that was really great. And that was, I think, when it really clicked for me that this is going to be a really significant undertaking for us. And it's a really big step forward into the future. And that was really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that moment of, I guess we're really doing this now.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that meeting was so much fun because the designs you and Tia brought were so engaging and exciting, but then that logo just really kind of took things into a new wave of enthusiasm. And we see that sometimes when working on projects. So Mel, have you seen in some of the projects that you've been working on, just an example of something that came while it was happening that just took things in a different direction?
Yeah, I think that probably happens on every project. I think work really shines when there's room for emergent aspects of the design where everything's not so tight and locked down that there's room to play. And if an idea comes up while we're working, we have a bit of freedom to follow it and experiment and see how it works out. I remember maybe about a year and a half ago, we worked with a client on a rebrand for them as well. We'd done a bunch of other work with them, but they also tapped us to do a video to go along with their own rebrand. And I was the writer for the video, and that's really fun for me. I don't get to work on time-bound media like video or audio or podcasts like that very often. Most of my work is pretty static, so usually text on screen or a document that's being submitted somewhere. And I really wanted to make sure all of the elements of that video came forward, that it wasn't really text heavy, that it wasn't really dialogue heavy, or there wasn't dialogue in this video, it was more of a voice over, but I didn't want words to be carrying all of the weight. I wanted there to be room for animation and for the pacing to help carry the emotion and the ideas in the video, and for the colors, words are important, but they need space to breathe. So the script had to be really short. The video was only going to be 1 minute long, and that meant that all the elements had to come together really tightly, and the people I was working with needed to understand what I was getting at in my script. So that's everybody from the animators, the multimedia designers who worked with me on the video, to our client partners who were providing feedback on my script. And it was important to me that I was communicating well with everybody, like what my ideas were. And I came up with a sort of color coding system for my script where, like red is where we're introducing the ideas or the concept here, and then moving through introducing like the new idea, the change in energy that happens sort of as you're moving towards the climax of the video, and then the wrap up at the end where there's a sort of falling action and a call to action moment. And I had all those scenes sort of broken out into color, and they had labels and explanations, but yeah, I found that system really helpful, and I think we still use a version of it today on some of our other scripts, because it's good to be able to remind myself while I'm working on it and other people working on the video, like at this point, we need to be thinking about the role of how this scene is impacting the audience's emotions. So yeah, that was a fun little design thing, but every project has stuff like that. And I think it really helps. It's where the magic comes together, when people have room to draw on other things and change direction when they see an opportunity.
Yeah, you can't get stuck in one thing, especially when you're doing creative work. And that example with the script tool is great. We use it all the time. And in fact, we've used it with clients even to kind of do a little educating, bring them along the process. So Nicolina, I'm sure you've had to do this too. So how do you bring a client along with you on their creative journey?
Well, any client project has, its challenges and of course its successes. But one of the most difficult things that happened actually was one of the most difficult clients, I'll say, was us. We were our own most difficult client. And we probably didn't expect that. But that always happens when you're trying to brand yourself, because, we all want the best for the company, and we all have so many opinions, and we all have our expertise, and we're all experts in what we're doing, and we want the best outcome. And that sometimes means that there's clashing of opinions because someone thinks that it should be written one way, but then other people are pushing back a little bit and saying, I don't think that's saying what you think it's saying yet. It's almost there. Or like stylistically, when someone thinks like me, is when I think that something should be done, but the other people are not connecting right to it quite yet. And so we need to push it. And it's really great because all of these ideas continue building on each other. And I think that looking back, each of the times when one of us thought that something should have been finished, that should have been the final copy, the final design, that we were wrong. Because now when we look at it, if we wouldn't have arrived to the place that we are now if we had stopped at any of those points. And there was just so much room for growth at each of those stages. And it's just so wonderful to see it all come together now. But of course, we also agreed on a lot of things as well. Like stylistically, we agreed that to have the brand appear more mature, that we wanted to get rid of some of the many colors that we were using. We used to be a lot more colorful. Now stepping forward, we're paring that back. So it's a bit more muted color tones. There's a lot of whites with a little pops of color. We're trying to meld graphic elements with photography as well to try to appeal to more audiences, because, you know, we've taken some critique in the past that not everyone is a fan of illustration, not everyone is a fan of photography, and sometimes you need to find ways for all of those things to live together, because we don't want to alienate anyone, and we want to be welcoming and you know, for all of our clients, past and future. So yeah, it's just been a really great process to see all of that coming together. And I think I'm definitely proud, and I think a lot of us have the same sentiments, that we're so proud of how far we've come, and we're really looking forward to the next 10 years as well.
Yeah, that's such a great example about how design thinking is really about the kind of story you want to tell, and how do you move your user, whoever they are, even ourselves, from one state to another. And so Mel, you have had the tough job of trying to distill the Onlea story down into tasty little bites that we can use all over the place. So how did you approach the problem of telling the story of a company and a group of people who are often kind of reluctant to talk about ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a challenge. I don't know if Onlea is unique in this, but I think anytime you're in a space full of creative people who care a lot about what they do and are very focused on execution, they move sort of from one problem they're excited to solve to the next. And they don't spend a lot of time resting on their laurels or reliving their past successes. They're like, okay, what's next? On to the next thing. And so when I go to talk to someone about a past project, I'm like, hey, I wasn't on this project, but I want to do maybe a little write-up or a case study or something on it. Can you tell me about this project? And a lot of times they're like, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Let me check my notes. I think I remember what it was like working on that project. Not that we don't remember things, not that we don't appreciate our clients, but it's always like, it's on to the next thing, it's on to the next thing, and it's fun and we're engaged. And yeah, I would say it's such I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe, like, echo what Nicolina said about how we're kind of our own worst enemies sometimes when it comes to like trying to promote ourselves, trying to talk about ourselves, tell the story of what we went through. Everyone's got a very different perspective. Everyone's got different things that they remembered or focused on or found frustrating or felt like they could have done better. I know that in every project I've ever worked on, I've been like, oh, I just felt like this thing wasn't so good. And someone was like, what are you talking about? I didn't even notice that. That was amazing. Like, my thing was bad. And it's like, no, you're insane. That's banana pants thing you just said. But yeah, I mean, for writing anything for branding and promotion, I think that probably the most challenging thing for me is I feel like our clients know when they work with us that we care about their projects, and also that we don't take ourselves too seriously. And it's very easy for when we are working on branding documents for like language to creep in there that I don't really think is super reflective of who we are. It can get sort of kind of corporate sounding, kind of conceptual really easily. You know, and next thing you know, you're saying like synergy or something, or using a bunch of like really effusive like mission statement-y language when it's so much more straightforward, in that we just love what we do and we like our clients and we think their projects are cool, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, we're change managing the brand initiative and building the plane while we're flying it and putting a pin in it and getting our ducks in a row. Like, that stuff is fine. A little bit of it every once in a while is fine. But it, you know, there's so much more to it than that kind of stuff. So editing that down, trying to be more straightforward, trying to use plain language, that's always a goal of mine. I think we've been successful, but there's always been a bunch of back and forth. And through this website and this branding process, we had quite a lot of back and forth. I would again echo what Nicolina said. I don't think that we agreed on a lot of stuff, but we didn't always agree on how to get there. And however right you may think you are in the moment, and that person just doesn't quite get it, there's usually a way together you can be even more right. And that's good to keep in mind when someone doesn't quite want to come with you on a thing you're pursuing.
Yeah, two rights make a bigger right, let's say. Well, thank you for circling back on that with me. And I appreciate
Anytime.
having you both here.
Thanks so much.
All
It was
right.
great.
So now we want to hear from all of you. We've collected some of the great questions coming in from our audience members, and I'm going to put us on the spot. So I'm joined again by our CEO, Adriana, and our creative director, Jeff Woodward. So our first question is coming up on stage. There we go. Okay, so we've got a great one here from our partners over at ASH. And they say, we've enjoyed working with you on our retailer compliance training modules. So will Onlea be pursuing more external accreditations for the courses that we do?
Well, first of all, hi to Les and team over at ASH. It's great to see you with us today. And we've enjoyed working with you as well. I think, so accreditation for the courses that we do sort of goes in two directions, and I can talk briefly about that. One is sort of specifically if there are accreditations required for the learners at the end of the course. That's something we work very closely with our clients to make sure that those accreditations are there, and that we've gone through all the processes to achieve that accreditation. And I think that, like most of the stuff that we've done over the last 10 years, our clients' needs will drive our desires in that regard. So if we have more clients that need that sort of accredited work, then it's absolutely an avenue we will pursue. And then the sort of other half of accreditation is, internally we have a very well accredited and diversely accredited group that works for us, ranging from PhDs to professional certifications to all sorts of wonderful letters behind people's names that our team has, and so we will continue to try and hire with that sort of diverse experience and knowledge in mind. But also there's trends and new developments and things like that happen in industry, and so people need to learn even as they're going. So we actually have professional development in place for people to sort of get professional accreditation as they need. I know Andrea is going through a program right now. I, as a lowly film and television guy, working for Onlea, where we do all sorts of really diverse and specialized work, have had to go back to school no less than 3 times in the 7 years that I've worked here to brush up on skills and get accreditation so that I can at least have intelligent conversations with the people that work here. So it's always an ongoing thing, and we absolutely look to keep up on those things, both for ourselves personally and for the stuff we're building.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Jeff. So my second question is going to be for Adriana here. So we've talked a lot about what the rebrand has meant for ourselves, our feelings going through it, all of that process. But what does Onlea's rebrand mean for existing clients? What changes can they expect in our working relationships with them?
I like that question because it talks about service. And that is something that I appreciate our team, and it's part of our DNA. We are in service of you. So what this rebrand keeps in mind is that we are in service of your need, we are in service of your requirements. That comes in the form of questions, that comes in the form of people-first approaches, where we want to hear you. We want to hear what success means for you. And you will keep hearing those questions for us because we want to be in service of you. And that is part of this rebrand, and that is part of our DNA at Onlea.
Fantastic. Okay, my next question is for both of you, so you can fight it out who gets to answer first. But in the last 10 years, we've done hundreds of projects, so many different clients, and there certainly has to be moments where the project or client or something about the process changed the way we did things. So can each of you think of an example of a time where working with a client changed the way we did things, and what happened because of that?
Yeah, sure. This is actually a pretty easy question for me to answer. The first answer is every single one of them, and that sounds like a bit of a patsy answer, but it's true. Everyone who comes to us is looking to change something, whether it's themselves, their organization, the world for some people, and that requires learning and change on our behalf to do that. And so there are things large and small that we have taken away from every single client we've worked with that then moves into the next client we work with, and so on, like concentric rings on a pond. I'm going to give you a specific example. Is a few years ago, we worked with the Rick Hansen Foundation and Power Ed at Athabasca U to do a accessibility accreditation course for building inspectors and architects and things like that. And so aside from the thrill of meeting one of my childhood heroes, Rick Hansen, which was awesome, and he was a great guy, the people at the Rick Hansen Foundation were so educational, and they warned us before we started working with them that we were going to look at the world completely differently when we were done. And it's true, we do. And it really, what in short came out of it was a real passion for accessibility, true accessibility, not just compliance, right? So we were always compliant with the various sort of WCAG and things like that. But what has changed is we've really worked to create equitable accessibility in everything we build. So thinking about, how are people's accessibility issues in terms of internet access or the device they're working on, as well as any sort of physical impairments that someone might be working with. All of those things go together to make a course either more accessible or less accessible. And that's now part of our process. So all of the clients that we have worked with since the Rick Hansen Foundation have benefited from that and gotten much better courses that work for everyone. And so that's something that absolutely changed the way we work.
How about you, Adriana?
I'll keep it simple. Every project has changed me in some way. Every project has had a unique lesson that has impacted me or the team in a unique way.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, we've got a question coming in hot from Heike, who is asking, what kind of client growth projection percentages are you working towards? So a little business side of things.
Oh, I love that question from Heike. And thank you. For me, the growth of our clients is our growth. And we have been working with amazing organizations that are looking to grow their impact. They are looking to grow their membership. They are looking to grow the communities they serve. It's not, their message needs to be broadcasted to many places and more places than before. So for me, the question about growth, I cannot answer it with numbers. For me, is the growth of our clients is our growth, and we are looking forward to growing your membership. We are looking forward to growing your message. We are looking forward to growing with you.
Fantastic. So on that same theme, what is exciting to you about the next 10 years? Maybe we'll have Jeff jump in first. We've been using exciting a lot today. We're all vibrating with energy. What's exciting for the next 10 years?
Well, as much as we have dealt with change in the first 10 years of our existence, I think that we're seeing things move more quickly in the last couple of years, and I don't see that acceleration easing at all. And so I think for me, what's exciting are the new directions that learning is going to go. 4 years ago, we lived in a world, 4.5 years ago, we lived in a world where by and large people taught in person, and learning online was a novelty. And then in the blink of an eye, that changed to a necessity. And then what we experienced was that changed from a necessity to, okay, we want to do this well now. It's not enough to just do it, so we need to do it well. And now people are actually thinking strategically about it and thinking of real tools and strategies that they can do to inform their online presence for their learners, and as Adriana was saying, use it to provide value for members, to build revenue, to do all these different things, and that learning can truly be a catalyst for those things. So looking forward to the next 10 years, it's going to be technology changes. Everyone's talking about AI. So I think, and we, for those that don't know, Dr. Jonathan Schaefer, who is one of our founders, who you met earlier, is one of the sort of godfathers of machine learning and has some opinions and some ideas about this. So we're working on a product with him right now that's really exciting, that's going to sort of let administrators and learners get out of some of the scut work and repetitive work that you have to do, and then be able to employ those artificial intelligence tools in a practical, curated, and ethical way that I think is really exciting. So I think that's sort of number one at the top of the list. And then, the way we communicate keeps changing and evolving, and the tools that we use to communicate. So as someone who's earned my living in sort of mass media communication, I'm really excited to see where things like live streaming and different platforms, I'm still waiting for the first client to come and ask us to put an entire program on TikTok. I'd be so stoked for that, just to meet the learners where they are, right, on social media, or an entirely, YouTube-based university course or something. It would be fantastic. All those things would be great. So the sky is wide open, and so are all the options.
Fantastic.
No, I'll add. All of us are talking about AI. Growing from what Jeff was mentioning, there are many things that we are learning on how to work with AI, but I'm excited about the next 10 years, what AI can teach us about us, about who we are and how we tick as humans.
Wonderful. And we are coming near the end, but we've got a challenging question from Eric. So, what do you see as the biggest challenge in the next 5 or 10 years? We have lots of excitement, but what do we have to make our way around?
I can get us started. So I do believe, and we have been talking a lot about communication in our team. And you saw today that we have been mentioning the idea of working together from diverse points of view. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest challenges, working on any project, working on any great initiative, but also working together in bigger endeavors, is how do we learn to work together from diverse points of view, all in the service of creating something amazing. So I'm looking forward to many more projects where we talk, we communicate, and we grow together.
Yeah, so I very much in line with that. I think that the biggest challenge, certainly from our perspective in the next 10 years, is ensuring that there is empathy in the stuff that is being made and disseminated. And it's really easy to, when you disagree with someone, to spew facts at them. And learning is change, but you have to have openness to learning and change in order for it to be in any way effective. And so I think for us, one of the key tools that we use, our secret power, if it can call it that, it's not a secret anymore, is empathy. And really putting ourselves in the shoes of the people that our clients are trying to reach, putting ourselves in the shoes of our clients. And I think that is only going to become more and more important, and it never stops being a challenge. So, it's one of those, it's pretty cliched, but it's an opportunity as well as a challenge. And we just have to remain self-conscious about it and really never assume that we know more than the people we're trying to reach or work with, or that our knowledge is somehow better than theirs. And I think if we can do that and we can bring the people we're working with along on that journey, it'll be successful. And if we can't, then there's potential for failure. And that's where the high wire adrenaline comes from as we're working on stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you both. And we have felt the high wire adrenaline being live here today. And I've really appreciated this chance to kind of turn the microscope on ourselves a little bit. We often get into a really interesting conversational and even vulnerable place with our clients. So it's been fun and exciting and engaging to do that with ourselves. And the one thing I've really taken away from some of these conversations is we are growing not because we just woke up one day and decided to do it. We are growing and changing in order to keep up with the people that we work with. They are driving change, and we are trying to rise to the occasion to meet them. So much of what we do depends on these relationships and depends on the fantastic work that they bring to us and the incredible learners that we get to work with. So I really appreciate just a chance to talk about that for an hour on a Thursday. So I want to thank all of you who've been able to join us on the live stream. This is our first time doing something like this, so we would love to hear how it went. I also really want to thank all of the panelists who've come up here and joined me, and all of our fantastic in-house crew who has made this work. It's been a hive of activity, and it's been really fun and enjoyable to do it. So you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media at Onlea. And you can also check out our brand new website and all of those beautiful new graphics and logos you've heard about at onlea.org. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great day.